In the meantime, we did these scales. We did them. We took them apart. We put them back together. Put the ash on the thing. And to our amazement, we put the last quarters on the scales. We're using more for barrels. They originally packed in barrels, and they actually had a contract with the Union Army during the Civil War, as many mills did in Indiana, to supply flour to the Army. But again, we have done nothing to these scales, and these scales weigh perfectly. Set of blowers on these boxes back here. We're out of that. The visitor center now with the new bag on. This will bring it up. It's not really here. Now it's here. And then the weight of the pressure of the flour, you set this weight on the brake here, and you have to work this way down and pick it out down here with a little lever. It's down. So that's how it should stop down. Flour tends to bind, particularly on a humid day like this. And so that's okay, we're running this equipment about half or maybe third speed here. We do have a little tachometer up there, and basically the miller would set the speed and everything in the middle runs. There's no clutches or transmissions or anything like that. So I give it just a little turn here. We see the tachometer go up a little bit. Pick up speed. So we have very fine control how much water is going into that turn. The turn came off a little spout here. There's a little rat. And the middlings came off over here with the top bag. Of course, these are all Babbitt bearings, worn out. Down the basement, drive shaft, line shaft, and upstairs line shaft, all Babbitt bearings. And we have not rebuilt those at this point. According to the faster we run it, the more water we're drawing, the more leaves will be doing. You only get about 40 pounds of bran in that bag, except with this packer you can get 100 pounds of bran in the bag. Now that's cheating a little bit because the 40 pounds they would tie with just hand tie, and that they would sew. And, you know, still, that's why they put the bran in. Very little market for the middlings and the bran, and so as most mills, this mill had a hog lot and concrete floor out there that we were feeding for. They feed out the bran and middlings, floor sweepings, the milk screening, and that was just part of standard operation for mills back in the day. You look at see how many water was coming in the race and how many leaves were. We had too many leaves that we wanted to shut it off. Maybe I'll shut it off anyway. That's a lot of work. And this one was actually in use in the North Carolina mountains. And in North Carolina mountains, they use these to make moonshine. You have to make the mash to make the moonshine, okay? That's the reason we have the still behind you. That's on loan from the Miami County Historical Society. But a metals mill has two stones in it, similar to this. The outside one is, instead of horizontal, these are vertical. And so you have the outside go stationary, the inside go turns the shaft. We have a screw adjustment back there that we can get very close how fine we want our corn to be.
Just give it a good 3 rounds there.
That's good right there. Okay. We don't know for sure, but we've been told it took 4 years to construct.
Is this the oldest mill in Indiana?
No.
Is it one of them?
Well, it'd be one of them. At one time there were 2,000 mills in Indiana, water-powered mills. Yeah. On this river, which is not a very significant river in the state of Indiana, starts up near north of Fort Wayne, ends up in the Wabash down to Logansport. There were 13 mills on this river, so that allows the water to go in and down through the turbine. And the water weighs 67 pounds a cubic foot. So you get more water going, you get a lot of weight, and that gives you power. And they do that right now. Normally this is controlled upstairs, but for demonstration purposes. You didn't think I could do that, did you? Through the mill, you see lots of wood pulleys. These are made up of pieces like this. Everybody joined it. Well, a lot of these have been left on the shaft for 35 years. It got wet, so they bolt around the shaft in half. So we take them out to a retired woodworker. He's been through every one of them. You see new posts here. There's about 8 new posts. If you look at the bottom of this. Over here we have a chain drag that runs in the bottom of that dump bin out there, and the chain holds the wheat in. A little bit of time, dumps it into this elevator right here. Behind you, you have a hammer mill for grinding ear corn, oats, and such, shelled corn. Now, if you know anything about a hammer mill, you know they run pretty fast. And this thing was a humming. Matter of fact, I can show you a staple down on the, you see those stairs coming down? Whenever this belt would break, and that shaft there would cross, so it's geared down twice. Where that belt will break, you can smack into that wall and those staples flattened out so it'll sift out. And I really don't quite understand them, but you can see they're conical shaped and they kind of mesh. And the material flatten it out. It's turtle. This is. You This is the one we had hook up to the corn grinder upstairs, and let's start it up. Notice on the large gears, these are all wooden cogs. You have a pin in here, a wooden pin, you just knock it out and this lifts out. We're in the process of trying to come up with some new cogs, and this is a pattern. We still haven't quite got them to fit. We had a bunch made up, and we're still working on that. But we had a few replacements, and we're out. And they say a couple things about the wooden cogs. First of all, if you break a tooth, you don't have to deal with the big cast iron shaft and try to work up a new tooth. Secondly, by running wood against steel, it cuts down on the static electricity and spark, which you all know what that does. Right, I got that running about half power there. Running full power to rattle that machine apart there.
What was the RPM? You said you had the tank up there. What was the RPM you tried to adjust it to with the roller mill?
This we run about 90. That's running slower than that. I don't know the exact RPM. I should have a check on it. Something I should look into.
Yeah.
Once you have your water under control, your turbine running, and a pulley, you can run any type of equipment, as you know, sawmill, cotton gin, carding mill, whatever the case may be. They ran an experiment of steaming wheat. That's my understanding that in current milling process, it's typical to steam wheat in the winter when the wheat gets too dry. No moisture back in. So they had a boiler down in the office and piped steam up here. They had 3 of these, and they'd shove them down in the wheat if the wheat was too dry.
You know they got that slowed down, don't they?
Yes. I had a big square one, I sold it.
There's a big one upstairs. Giant. That's
We have
what,
again a stack of old leather belts. You see some of the original leather, some of it laced together with twine, some of it stapled. Overhead, you can see one leather belt still in operation here, that transversal belt. This little machine is the put in for the wheat germ, and we take the wheat germ off. We've got this one here down even more, so the whole mill is running less than half speed, and we put a small pole in here to run this slow. What it looks like the end of the mill is actually a row of grain bins here. The darker square bin here is the flour bin. The flour's been sitting directly over the flour packer downstairs, and the flour packer would have run originally off of this pole here. Now you see all the wooden spouts. Down below you have 4 roller mills and a pair of rollers in the front and the back. So you have 8 different grades of material being ground. And so from the sifter upstairs, it grades it out and sends it down to the proper roller mill down below. So much for that. You look straight down, you see water exiting the mill with some water from the surface. Well, on this level you can see the floor, the old floor over there. The water jumping in, the floor. See the roof overhead. Does a good job, around 70% yield in flour. While the flour material comes down, we'll go into this along with some other material. Inside that, we'll also have a spring line. And what comes out at the end goes into the middling spin. So what comes through, we reflect to go back. And hopefully they can keep using the flour on it. Now you're all seeing lots of augers. This. You got a whole extra holes in that shaft. If you think that there's another hole, yeah, I'm not quite sure why. That could be your answer on the right. sifter. It's got 8 stacks and 8 rows of trays. Each tray would have a screen, or near the bottom would be silks on it. Of course, on top would bring the bran off, work its way down to it, and made it all the way to the bottom. It'd be flour, it would go off the back of the sifter. Others would come out at different grades into these that would direct it down to the roller mill down below for that grade. This machine, we've worked on it at least a dozen times, and it's still not
Oh, you're right.
right. I mean, it's turning. If we ran it a little faster, we start going this way, get out of sync, and start banging against here, trying to tear itself apart. We've tried balance, we've tried length of rods. We're still working on it. We'll get it. These dowel rods, called reeds, we had different stories from different millers what to use. Most of them said oak. We found oak to be too stiff, and they would work against each other, and they would break. We tried softer material, and it wouldn't stand it. So we're on red maple right now. That's what we said. And we use a center grain, so it doesn't have a lot of grain in it. We try to keep the grains all turned in the same direction. We'll get it figured out. If you got any suggestions, we'll take them. This is the final flour sifter, again a molding sifter. Will be covered with this material. Of course, this is back in the pre-nylon days, so this material is silk. And this silk comes from Switzerland. There's major specifications in Switzerland. Go into Chicago. We've got the a tag from one of the orders. I forget the name of the outfit in Chicago that supplied these. But I've seen these other ones we've had that would have a red print on it, say XXX. Triple X was extra fine flour. I think Pillsbury used to have an XXX on it. I don't know if it's still there or not already. Soft as silk. But this is the original molding silk. This shirt there we called a silk screen. Well, originally the artist grabbed these to make those shirts with, and so I figured that out, and that's why it's called silk screen, because you use molding silk. But you get this machine running a little faster, it rattles pretty good. It's got brushes that rub against the silk. It's got baffles in there to fluff the flour and help work through it. Still, you get a hot, humid day. You wouldn't want to go through. This is a wheat cleaner. The chain drag down below would bring it to this elevator. The elevator would drop it down here. Again, you got to think of this going pretty fast. Rattle, shake. It basically is the back end of a combine today, right? The big fan up there would blow the dust and chaff out in the atmosphere. The screens would separate foreign particles, and the clean wheat would drop into those bins down below us. This little screw mechanism would bring off the screenings, and they would go down and be bagged, and they'd sell screening. They might come in for some other business, they pick up a bag of screening, take it home, and throw it out in the barnyard for chickens.